In this guide, we go from this to this. If you don't want to waste your first hours in Kingdom Come Deliverance getting destroyed by bandits, failing every lockpick, and wondering why Henry feels completely useless in combat, then this is the starter guide for you. Because your first playthrough can be an absolute nightmare if you don't understand a few critical mechanics, some of which are very easy to miss early on, like master strikes, perks, lockpicking, and how to get good weapons and armor. So this guide will teach you how not to miss the best weapons and armor early on, how to unlock the best combat skills so you can easily win battles, and even win the Rattay Tournament early. I'll also show you how to make tens of thousands of groschen. Everything is timestamped below, and this guide actually starts after you've played through the initial story prologue, where you wake up at Rattay Mill with full access to the open world just here on the map. So after grabbing your clothing from your chest and eating some food, we're now ready to grab the best weapon you can get early on. So first we need to head south down the road from the mill up the hill to Rattay Castle entrance, where we also have the main quest marker. So once you arrive at the gate, just persuade the guard to let you go inside, and then you can take a right into Perkstein Castle, which is where we'll meet Sir Radzig. But while here, you can also obtain some powerful early game weapons in the castle watchtower. Just head up the stairs and along the battlements, and you can easily sneak into the tower even in broad daylight. It does count as trespassing, which has a 15 gold fine, but if the guards see you, they'll just ask you to leave and give you time to leave the area. So you can just run outside and then go back inside to reset that timer. So if you sneak up the spiral staircase, you can first pick up the prodder, and none of the weapons you pick up here, even in front of the guards, count as being stolen. Then go up the next staircase and grab the merchant's longsword from the wall, and there's also an axe on the table next to it. Finally, at the top of the watchtower, you can find the longsword named Piercer. Now you do need to kind of get the right angle to actually pick this one up though, which can be a bit finicky. Then if the guard does see you, just run back outside the tower to leave the trespass area, and so long as you don't wait around, you won't get charged 15 gold. Now the prodder is one of the best short swords you can get early on thanks to its low stat requirements and high stab and decent slashing damage. Then we have the merchant's longsword, which requires 5 strength to use and has very balanced stats. We will be leveling up our strength later so we can use it. And then finally we have Piercer, which has one of the highest stab damages in the game, but we need 7 strength to use it, so you can just store it in your chest until later. Also, if you're feeling cheeky, you can also get 2 bows from the top of the watchtower, which again don't count as stealing, including the ash longbow, which is one of the most powerful in the game. However, the stats on both of these bows are too high for us to use right now, so we will sell them in a moment. And now we can continue with the main quest objective to meet Sir Radzig and join his service. He'll then offer us some combat training, which is located here at the combat arena. But first, on the way over there, make sure that you sell your bows to the general merchant. You can also haggle for the best price, and you actually get +1 speech experience per successful haggle, and per page of dialogue that you select when talking to any NPC in the game. Now we can head to the combat arena to the east of Rattay, but you'll need to wait a few minutes until Captain Bernard appears. He's normally always here during the day, but you can always tell because you'll see the combat trainer icon next to the combat arena on the map here. So talk to him and make sure you select the option to learn the basics again, since it gives you a chance just to level up your sword skill even more. He'll then teach you how to feint attack and perfect block, and so long as you get used to pressing the block button as soon as you see that green shield appear in the center of the reticle, you will rarely take damage in Kingdom Come Deliverance. So after the initial training with Captain Bernard, he'll ask you to follow him to the archery range, but before you go, you can also loot the arrows and a shield from the training area, which makes the next part even easier. But make sure you save the game before you enter the archery range itself, Since it's here, you get the opportunity to win Lord Capons' bow. It's the best bow early on in the game thanks to its high damage and low stat requirements. But you can completely miss it if you don't win it now. So first you have the archery contest, and the arrow is going to land directly above where your knuckles are. And this bow has a fairly big drop off, so you just need to adjust how high you aim to hit the target. You also get extra points for being the first to shoot all your arrows, so make sure that you are quick. But don't worry too much because Lord Capon is terrible at archery, so he'll end up with a very low score anyway. Next though, we need to beat Capon in a duel. And here you're going to want to focus on perfect blocking all of his attacks by blocking as soon as you see the green shield icon pop up. If you stole and equipped the shield earlier, your perfect block window will actually be easier to hit. And after a perfect block, always aim for an overhead attack directly to his head. You can also hit him with a stab attack to the head as well, which is equally as effective. Also, baiting him with feint attacks can also work well as well. But if you run low on stamina, just back off until you recover it, since your stamina acts as a second health bar when you get hit. So if you have no stamina, you'll start taking damage to your actual health bar. So after beating Lord Capon, you'll then get given his bow, which you can't use yet because you don't have the stats for it. And Captain Bernard will then send you to talk to the bailiff, and this next part is really important. So first, we're going to follow the start of this next quest, and we're going to head over and talk to the bailiff just here on the map. And you can also ask him to learn how to read, and he'll actually mark a location on your map, which we'll go to later. And then we'll need to pick up our equipment for the Night's Watch from the guard's barracks, which is just here on the map. Speak to the guard here and he'll give you a gambeson, coif and helmet, which we can use as armor for now. But make sure that you do not continue the quest to meet with Nightingale at the church yet. We're just going to ignore continuing with the main story for now. Instead, we're going to level up our combat skills even further. One trick you can use to level up your combat skills really fast early on in Kingdom Come Deliverance is by going to the combat trainer next to the arena on the east of Rattay. During the day, you'll find Captain Bernard here, and by now you should have already reached level 3 in your sword skill. This means you can unlock the first perk, which is Zorn Ort or Wrath Strike. This is a longsword combo attack, which we can use to farm combat experience. So next we need to ask Captain Bernard to train us in combos. He's then going to try and teach us this combo in the top right corner, but we're going to completely ignore him, and instead we're going to use the Zorn Ort combo, which we just unlocked from our perk tree, which is left, bottom right, and then stab. And because you get the most combat experience for completing a successful combo, it is a very fast way to level up. He'll keep saying no, but just ignore him and carry on spamming this combo over and over. After failing the combo training, it will end, and you can simply ask him to teach you again and continue to level up your strength and sword skill until you reach level 5 in both, which normally takes a couple of sessions of doing this repeatedly. If you are struggling to combo though, just make sure that you're getting the right timing on the sword swings. As soon as you hit, you then want to start the next part of the combo. And this strategy is way faster than training with him normally because he doesn't fight back and he allows you just to spam those combos for more XP. At level 5 strength, you can now equip your merchant's longsword that we got earlier. And I also suggest getting the mule perk, which gives you 15 pounds more carry weight. At level 5 sword skill, you can also now unlock the Feller Scarmaker, which is the easiest combo in the game because you go for a bottom left slash and then you press stab stab and you hit them in the head every single time. It's really easy and fast to spam this combination. So if this is the only combo you learn, let it be this one. And also, if you do put away your sword, you can also train your unarmed skill by just punching Bernard in the face constantly. You can theoretically train like this with Bernard until you reach max level, but it's a boring way to play the game. I only want to give you guys a head start by showing you this. But next we have the most important part of the guide. This is how you unlock Master Strike in Kingdom Come Deliverance, which then lets you riposte enemies and instantly break through their guard, which can lead up a combo attack. So it's very important when you're fighting high skilled enemies. To do this, we need to talk to Captain Bernard outside Rattay Combat Arena during the day and ask him to teach us how to Master Strike. Firstly, you will need to beat him in a fight, so just perfect block him and then use that same combo I showed you earlier on him over and over until you win the fight. And then finally, he'll teach you how to Master Strike, which means you now have all the tools you need to kill most of the enemies in the game. Just remember though, to actually Master Strike, you need to perfect block at the very start of the window. You can do this easily by just watching for the enemy to start swinging their sword and then preemptively blocking. And the higher your combat skill, the longer the window will be to successfully Master Strike. Also, you want to grab the Firm Grip perk to reduce enemy stamina further each time you block them. And now we need some better armor, but all this fighting will damage your sword. So here's a great tip to fix it. The fastest way to train the maintenance skill in Kingdom Come Deliverance is to find a grindstone near any blacksmith and then intentionally grind your sword against the stone to damage it. You'll see black smoke start coming out of it and you'll see that your weapon's condition is now massively reduced. And now you can just go back to grinding it properly by angling the blade so the sparks come out. Doing this repeatedly will actually give you tons of maintenance experience, but the rest of your armor and clothing requires repair kits to fix, which you can buy from most vendors. Just don't let the condition get too low, otherwise you won't be able to repair it with your low maintenance skill. You'll have to go to a merchant to repair it for a cost. And the more valuable your armor, the more costly it will be to repair. Now we can head back to Miller Peshek at Rattay Mill and start his thieving quest line, which opens up a bunch of things. To do this, speak with Miller Peshek outside his mill. He will teach you how to lockpick, pickpocket, and also buy your stolen goods if we complete his side quest to retrieve the dead man's ring. But first, ask him to teach you how to lockpick. He'll then provide you with lockpicks and a training chest, which actually relocks itself each time you open it. You can repeatedly lockpick this same chest 10 times to level up both your stealth and lockpicking skill. Just find the gold area with the cursor where the icon is at its largest and then try and keep it there as you rotate the lock. Now, if you're struggling with the lockpicking system, you can change the lockpicking difficulty from original to simplified in the main menu here to make it way easier. So now you've leveled up a bit, we can go and retrieve the ring from the executioner who lives through the woods up on the hill here to the west of Rattay, just here on the map. Now once you arrive at his house, you can convince him that the miller owes him some flour, which will cause him to go back and check. You'll then be free to enter his house. Alternatively, you could come at nighttime, leave some meat out for the dogs to shut them up, and then choke him out in his bed while he's sleeping, since it's much easier to do this when people are sleeping. And then you can steal the ring from inside his chest just through the door here. I'd actually recommend picking all 4 chests just for the experience though. Then before you leave, you can also kill the pigs and his dogs to level up your combat skills. And if you steal their meat, it's actually possible to remove the stolen tag by simply cooking it at the fire pit in his house. But before you leave this area, you can find the secret sword of the robber baron right near the executioner's house, west from Rattay. Make sure that you grab the spade behind the entrance to the executioner's home, then take the path west until you reach the forest tree line. Now in the woods, you're going to find a secret grave exactly where I'm standing in the forest, and this is what we needed that spade for. We can dig up this grave to obtain the famous robber baron's short sword, which is worth 1,500 groschen, and it's a very decent short sword to use or sell early on. Next, we can return to Miller Peshek and we can give him the ring we stole, which unlocks the next part of the Miller's Thieves Guild questline. But Miller Peshek will also now unlock as a fence for you to sell your stolen goods to. He'll also offer to teach you how to pickpocket if you ask him, and you can actually go ahead and practice on him until you level up a few times. But now we've got him unlocked, we can start our criminal career. You can get some amazing early game armor and make hundreds of thousands of groschen by following this next part of the guide. Alternatively, if you just want to go and get a really good armor set without stealing anything, check out my treasure hunt video linked in the description below. But for the thieves who want to stick around, now we're going to wait until the next tournament in Rattay. The Rattay Tournament takes place every 6 days at the Upper Castle. The contestants appear at 7 p.m. the night before, and the game will also warn you at this time wherever you are in the world. So just make sure you're awake at 7 p.m. each night until you get the pop-up for the Rattay Tournament. Now we're going to head up to Rattay Castle, and behind the tournament grounds, through this door here, you're going to find a sleeping area where all of the tournament contestants will be sleeping after 10 p.m. and you can choke them out and steal all of their armor. However, if the guard discovers them unconscious, this will cancel the tournament. Now at this point it doesn't really matter because you're stealing their armor, but it's also possible to avoid this from happening. Firstly, just walk up to one of the contestants, choke them out and steal everything of value they have, but so you're not over encumbered. You can then leave the castle to the east with all of their stuff. And if you've not been caught committing any crimes so far, there's a very, very low chance that the guides will want to search you as you leave. But it depends on Henry's reputation. If you've been following this guide so far, you should have been fine. Just don't equip the stolen items yet. I recommend that you only take the items with a high value to weight ratio. So for example, I'm going to drop this shield. Then you can simply fast travel back to the mill and sell the stolen items to Miller Peshek. Then we can fast travel back to the tournament sleeping quarters and just do the same thing again. Choke a dude out, steal his valuables, then fast travel back to the mill and sell them. However, you will now realize that Miller Peshek has run out of gold to buy your stolen goods. Don't worry though, we will solve this later on. For now, we're just going to stash all of the stolen stuff in our personal chest. Now around 1 or 2 a.m. we can return to the tournament sleeping area in the castle, and sometimes you'll see a guard coming through the door on patrol to keep watch. And if you wait around until after he leaves and close the door behind him, we now have the perfect opportunity to go around and knock out all of the contestants while they sleep and then steal all of their armor at once. But this time we're going to stash it all in the small easy locked chest which is in the corner by the battlements. So stash all of their belongings in here because we'll come back and pick it up tomorrow. Once you've done this, we can fast travel back to the mill and then we can just go to sleep until 10 a.m. ready for tomorrow's tournament. And because none of the contestants were found to be knocked out by the guards, that tournament will still go ahead. So you can go and sign up with the announcer and you'll notice that all of the contestants have woken up with no armor. How has this happened? Only their weapons will have respawned, and yes, you can still loot all of their weapons again later. Now it will cost you 60 groschen to enter the tournament, and make sure that you pick the longsword as your favorite weapon. But even though all of these contestants are competing with no armor, they're still very skilled in combat. However, all you need to do is focus on trying to master strike them and then following up with an overhead or piercing attack to their head. 1 or 2 hits to their head will make them surrender immediately. You'll need to compete against each contestant with your longsword and then with a random weapon of their choice. But just spam the same technique I just showed you guys and you will very easily win these battles. Just focus on not getting hit yourself and only do a follow-up attack after a master strike. And don't worry if you don't win, it's still a challenge early on. But if you do, you'll get 400 groschen and the Lords of Lipa gauntlets from Sir Hanush. And eventually, if you keep on winning the tournament, you'll unlock the entire armor set along with a bunch of unique weapons as well. You can also bet 100 groschen with Miller Peshek for you to win as well, and he'll also pay you some more money. And every 6 days, you can repeat the tournament and the contestants will show up fully armored with all their weapons again, ready to be stolen. But whether you won or lost the tournament, just wait until nighttime and all the contestants will go to sleep before they disappear until the next tournament. And you can take this chance to knock them all out again and steal all their swords which have all respawned. And you can also go back and loot the chest where you stored all the other stolen items and very slowly walk all the way back to the east out of the castle and then around to Rattay Mill where you'll be able to store all of those stolen goods in your chest. And just to let you know, it is possible to buy back any of the stolen items you already sold to Miller Peshek to remove the stolen tag on them. Alternatively, you can just leave them in your inventory and the stolen tag will disappear over time. But the more valuable the item is, the longer that's going to take. But this is going to give you a full armor set to go bandit hunting with early on. But next we need to solve another problem of having nobody to sell all of those stolen items to. Well, this next tip is a little bit cheesy, but it will make you tens of thousands of groschen, and it's just really fun to play the game like this. Firstly, we must get our lockpicking skill to level 6, and this is really easy to do. And you can change lockpicking to simplified to make it easier. Then you're going to go around all of the country houses and just start picking their easy chests. I actually found it easier to do this at daytime since everyone's out in the fields working and nobody's going out at night to check on what the noise was. Then at nighttime, you can actually go into the alleys of Rattay and just lockpick the doors in town. You don't need to steal anything, you can just lockpick everything and just leave it. And it will take you about 20 minutes to get up to level 6 lockpicking. Once you reach level 6 lockpicking, you can then get the Luck of the Drunk perk. This makes it 30% easier to open locks when drunk. It also says that it will be noisier, but that's just not true. It doesn't seem to make any difference at all. But the best part about this perk is that for some reason, it also lets you open very hard locks as long as you're drunk, which would normally require level 14 lockpicking to open. So now we can go to Rattay at 1 AM and we're going to go here on the map to the weapons merchant's house and come down the alleyway to the left of his shop where the smithery is. And it's here you can either drink some wine or some savior schnapps to save the game before you attempt the next step. So we're going to wait for the booze to kick in, and it doesn't matter how drunk you are, the perk always takes effect as long as you have any alcohol in your system, and we can open the hard lock to the merchant's house. Then once you're inside, go to the left and open the next door to the weapon storage room. And by the way, all of the stuff in here is going to respawn after a few in-game days, so you can easily loot the entirety of Rattay like once a week. Then we're going to open the giant, very hard wooden chest, which is actually pretty easy with our perk. Even at level 6 lockpicking, this was not hard to do at all. And inside, we're going to get 2,000 groschen, or whatever the trader has in terms of money. Next, we can loot the weapon storage in the very hard locked cupboard, and there's even more in the cupboard next to that. But if you do struggle, you can still get the Deft Grip perk, which makes locks faster to open, and the Lasting Lockpicks perk, which makes them harder to break. After we've looted all of that, we can head out of Skallets and towards the mill. As long as you don't have a negative reputation, you will not get searched by the guard like 99% of the time. But if you do have a bad reputation, you can always buy a horse and saddlebags, load up your horse, and then just sprint out of the town past the guards, even if they try and stop you. You'll only get a small fine for running away compared to losing all of your stolen loot. Now we're back at Rattay Mill though, we can make unlimited gold with this one simple trick. Firstly, go to the right of the mill and you'll find a very hard locked door. And since we're still drunk, we can use the Luck of the Drunk perk to open it with our level 6 lockpicking skill. Inside, we can then find and unlock the very hard chest, which functions as the miller's inventory. So whenever he buys or sells things, they go into this chest. And you can see the stuff that we sold to him earlier inside. However, if you put all of the items that you just stole into this chest, and then you wait a couple of days, like just go to bed or something, you can come back to this chest and it will still be unlocked from now on. And the miller would have sold all of those items and the chest will be full of all the money that he made. So you can just go ahead and take that 15,000 groschen out of the chest. And you can do this over and over again until you're stupidly rich. You can also put stolen gear in here as well and immediately go and buy it off the miller to remove the stolen tag. Just make sure that you do that the same day that you put it in so he doesn't sell it first. Now the final thing I recommend doing with all this gold is heading out of Rattay to the east and following the main road until you reach the Neuhof stables, which is also marked on the map just here. If you go and speak to the lady at the stables here, you can buy one of the best tier 5 horses in the game called Alborak for 2,010 gold. It has a speed of 39, a huge carrying capacity of 252, and a courage of 15, which means it won't get spooked by bandits on the road. You can also buy some horse tackle equipment like the large saddlebags as well to help you carry your gear. Now you have the best horse in the game, you can make your way to Ushitz, which is to the north, and this is where the scribe mentioned earlier is living. Once you arrive, you're going to find the scribe's house just over here on the map. and then you can pay him to teach you how to read, which unlocks skill books and other quest related tasks later on. Make sure you find your dog and level up the Houndmaster skill right at the start of Kingdom Come Deliverance. Just visit Teresa at the Rattay mill right here on your map. You can then ask her about the dog wandering around the mill and she'll offer you to keep it as a companion. Now just greet Mutt and he'll start following you. You can level up the Houndmaster skill by just spamming the praise option on him repeatedly. Just skip through the dialogue and keep doing it for fast level ups. The first perk you can unlock is Hunt. Now when you tell Mutt to hunt in a forest, he'll go and kill the hares and bring them back to you, which is way easier than trying to hit them with a bow. Get the Sick perk to unlock the ability for your dog to attack people on command. You can also set him to aggressive, which causes him to attack and distract groups of enemies. And the higher your Houndmaster skill, the more often he'll attack. Finally, the Seek perk gets Mutt to seek out nearby loot and treasure for you. Just make sure that you don't feed him any spoiled meat below 50% because that will lower his obedience. Then, finally, I'd recommend that you pay for a long stay at the inns that you come across. Then you'll have access to them permanently for the rest of the game, and you can also access your personal chest with all of your gear from here because they're all connected to one another. So now your Henry is filthy rich, has the best horse, with very decent combat skills to start out with that you can improve by just fighting bandits and playing the game, and also has a very decent set of weapons and armor. But you can actually get an even better set of armor and weapons by checking out this next video right here, which sends us on a treasure hunt across the entirety of the map to get some of the best gear in the game. I'll see you there.